Welcome everyone! In this video, we are in the Ultra League, showcasing some more fun battles featuring Gliscor. Gliscor on team number 3 from my top 5 best teams for the Ultra League. With the update to Wing Attack, Gliscor has a lot more play in both the Great League and in the Ultra League. And in the Ultra League, it's a lot more bulky than it is in the Great League, of course. And it will be serving as the closer on this team on team number 3, along with Registeel. Registeel's going to be on the safe swap. A very solid and reliable safe swap. Although it was nerfed last season, it still has tons of play, and that attack drop does proc quite regularly, even with the nerf. Registeel, quite bulky, can grab shields and allow you to preserve a shield advantage for your closer. And also on this team, for team number 3, we've got Tapu Fini on the lead. Tapu Fini is here to protect our back 2 Pokemon from Swampert and Talonflame, as the back 2 Pokemon do not have very strong matchups against Talonflame, and we're leading with it because Talonflame is a very common lead. But before we get into the featured set of the video, we are starting things off with some bonus battles that I thought were a lot of fun. And here we go, picking up a Shadow Scizor on the lead. We can do quite well here with Tapu Fini and all even shield scenarios. We're fine to play out the zeros. We are quite confident and we know that we can win this. You just go straight Surf, and Shadow Scizor is quite squishy, so it does a lot of damage. And they are at a potential Iron Head. It hits us for neutral damage because we are part water, and we live because we have quite a bit of bulk and gonna look to farm all the way down. Winning lead with Tapu Fini. You love to see it. They come in with a Giratina. They get ahead on energy. And we've got just the right answer for a Giratina in the Ultra League. It is Gliscor time, and we can do quite well here. Of course, we have access to Night Slash, which can hit for super effective. They go Ancient Power, fishing for a boost perhaps. And they tried to catch a Night Slash onto their Dark-type Obstagoon, but no such luck for them. We were anticipating that, and for their troubles, they're going to get hit with an EQ. They tank that, as Obstagoon's quite bulky in the Ultra League. And we make the play into Registeel here. Now, shields are still up. So what we're going to look to do, and they go Obstruct. The awful Community Day move of Obstruct does no damage, and we're actually going to look to go for the Zap Cannons. They're just about in Zap Cannon range, and of course they have to fear a potential Focus Blast. That would be lights out for the Obstagoon. And we're just going to no-shield everything at this point. They're not running Cross-Chop, so that makes this a little bit tougher for them. Although they have raised their defense and have lowered ours, we know that we still tank another Night Slash. Registeel, about as bulky as it gets. They tried sniping with a Giratina, but we were not in sniping range because we're too bulky. Gonna just get this off. No debuff still. Oh, it doesn't seem to proc for us very often, but that is just our luck in Go Battle League. What can you do? No big deal. Gonna look to just build up and go for a Night Slash here on the CMP tie. And they're not running Dragon Claw, which is quite interesting to see. That does quite a bit to a very tanky Pokemon, but Giratina, quite bulky. And gonna let this go through. We can't quite get hit with a Night Slash from the Obstagoon, so gonna look to just overload and go for a Night Slash here. If they let this go, this will absolutely allow us to say bye-bye to the Giratina, and we get the boost. Oh, you love to see it. Getting a little sweaty here, guys. So the play here now is to grab that final shield. We do, and hope to do enough damage that may allow for a simul KO. I was sure that this would not KO, but I was hoping that the boosted Wing Attack damage would either take it out or allow for a simul KO. The simul KO occurred, and we had a Registeel in the back, which means that we win. Good game. Gliscor was quite effective in this Ultra League meta, and if you're wondering, yes, you can absolutely run a Shadow. But here we go, picking up the Dream League, comes in the form of Guzzlord. They make a play in a Swampert, and I did not have an immediate answer for the Swampert. We, of course, want the Tapu Fini on that Dragon Dark type Guzzlord, so We kind of just went into Gliscor and was kind of hoping for the best here. They hit us with a Hydro Cannon. As you can see, Gliscor quite bulky. Tanks a Hydro Cannon quite comfortably, but we cannot tank two. So we're going to have to shield. And we are going to throw this Hail Mary EQ in hopes that they think that we're baiting and we're not. And holy smokes, nearly one-shotting the Swampert. You love to see it. That could not have worked out better. We did have to go down a shield, but we can now maintain the alignment that we need here to have the most success. They come back in with the Guzzlord, and Gliscor is not done, my friends. We get to another EQ, and we're going to put the pressure on them. They do tank that quite well, as Guzzlord is quite bulky. We come back in with our Tapu Fini, and they've got a Galarian Weezing in the bag. Very interesting. This thing does have access to Overheat, but we let this go anticipating a bait, and no, they are not looking to bait. They go right for that Overheat. Quite risky for them because they have now severely lowered their attack by 2 stages. But another Overheat, I think, would be quite catastrophic, and we will have to shield the next one. I would say. I don't think it would quite KO, but we would be hanging on by a thread. So yeah, we will err on the side of caution and shield. In hindsight, probably should have shielded the first one, but I was expecting a bait. That was the play for them. And they do shield our Zap Cannon. They are playing this very carefully. Gonna have to catch the next Overheat. That would have been doing a lot of damage, and we knew that Registeel could do quite well against a potential Guzzlord. Oh, you love when you can catch that resisted damage. Feels quite good, I must say. They desperately go back into this Guzzlord, and it can do nothing to Tapu Fini. All of the moves are thoroughly resisted with our Fairy typing, and we are going to look to put it out of its misery. We're saying bye-bye to the Guzzlord, and now all they have left is a Galarian Weezing that is still quite healthy. And they are at a potential play rough, but Tapu Fini quite bulky. We tank that, and we are going to look to get to another Surf and chip on this Galarian Weezing. So now, the play here, my friends, is to force them to lower their attack. That gets them quite low. They cannot farm down, and a play rough will not do the trick for them. So that's what we had to do to pull this off. Make them lower their attack and go for the farm down. And we get it with the Tapu Fini. You'll love to see it. That plan worked out beautifully. That's going to be a good game. Well played. Team number 3 from my top 5 best teams for the Ultra League was really putting in the work. And here we go. Swampert lead. So we are happy to play out all shielding scenarios to get rid of the Swampert. Gonna go for the Surf. It's not worth it to build up to the Moonblast because they will not shield it even if you do land it. They know that Swampert has quite a bit of bulk in the Ultra League and can tank one of any move from just about anything in this meta. Outside of course, Frenzy Plant, I would say, from a Binu, or any grass type for that matter. We did shield up that EQ. We kind of have to, because if we let that through, it's not going to KO, but then it gives them license to just spam us with Hydro Cannons. So we want them to build all the way up to that EQ and take as much of this Water Gun fast move pressure as possible. And now they will not make it to another EQ. Had to go down 2 shields, but we got rid of our biggest obstacle for our backline. We're not out of the woods just yet. They've got a Registeel in the back, and we have no shields, but we're fine with that. We're just going to stay in here, get off as much damage as possible, and then unleash the power of Gliscor on this Registeel here. Gliscor, one of the best answers to a Registeel in this meta, as it does resist everything, all of the charge attacks from the Registeel. Outside of, I would say, a Flash Cannon, of course. They're going to put us out of our misery with a Zap Cannon. And now, like I said, it's Gliscor time up against this Registeel. They do still have a shield, and they are going to go for a potential Zap Cannon here. But like I said, guys, this is single resisted with our ground typing. You'd love to see it, which this is why Gliscor is such an amazing answer to Registeel and even Galarian Stunfisk. Gonna bait with a Night Slash, and they are not falling for it. Our attack has been lowered, so we have to play carefully here. They do have a G-Fisk in the back, so it was double steal. Gonna bait. We do successfully bait, and now we are gonna look to go for the EQ. Again, Rock Slide hits us for neutral damage as we are part ground. This is why Gliscor has so much play right now in the Open Ultra League. Gonna go for this debuffed EQ as that Registeel did. Lower our attack. Doesn't do as much as we'd like to see. And now we have to play very carefully here. Gonna let this next Rock Slide go through. And gonna look to bank a EQ for later. We know that our attack has been dropped. Gonna bank that and then make the play into Registeel. The reason why is because I did not want them overloading on energy. I want to force them to throw this EQ here. It does not KO, and we do force back out their Registeel. Gonna get rid of it with a Focus Blast, and then hope like heck that we can either make it to a Focus Blast of our own or force the Stunfisk to throw their energy. The race is on. We know that we have an EQ bank, and we do win CMP tie, so it was in the bag as it was, but there's nothing more satisfying than saying bye-bye to a G-Fisk, courtesy of a Focus Blast. You'd love to see it. Registeel coming in clutch in the end, putting in the work. That's going to be a good game. Well played. Oh, I had a lot of fun with those bonus battles, but we now move into the featured set of the video, and we are met with an awful lead in the form of Galvantula. Going to make a play into our safe swap Registeel and look to play this out here. They are staying in, which is quite interesting. We don't have to shield a thing from this Galvantula, but we would like to get off some big damage, big resisted damage, I must say. But Galvantula, not known for its bulk, even resisted damage, does quite a bit to it. And it does about half of their health. You'll love to see it. Now, they are still staying in this matchup, knowing that we have a Tapu Fini that they could do quite well against. That means a number of things. They are likely very weak to a Registeel in the back. That has to be it. I can't think of any other reason to stay in here like they are doing, and they are even shielding. That is quite interesting to see. They really want to get rid of this Registeel, so we're going to let this go. And we're actually going to come in with our Gliscor and look to farm this thing all the way down if they so choose to stay in. And it looks like they are. Holy smokes. They are putting a lot of pressure on their own Galvantula to do a lot of work up against our team here, guys. Everything's resisted. Gliscor, yet another solid answer to a Pokemon like Galvantula. Everything is resisted outside of a potential energy ball, I would say, but you don't often see that. They can debuff us all they want. They're just giving us more farm, and that is exactly what they did. So now we can easily swap out, clear those debuffs, and leave with loaded energy. We saw why there. They had a Dragonite in the bag, along with another Galarian Weezing. Holy smokes! I've never seen so many Galarian Weezings in the Ultra League in my life, my friends. They were quite prevalent. But it does now have access to Brutal Swing, but they go Play Rough here. Obviously, Brutal Swing would be resisted, but it does give them some nice baiting potential. A much better bait move than something like a Sludge, I would say. And we're just going to look to play this out and get rid of this Galarian Weezing. We did see Play Rough. We don't know what the second move is, and they are running Brutal Swing. Speaking of brutal, that was brutal having to shield that up. My goodness. And we will shield up again, knowing that if we can get shields down, Gliscor can really put in work up against this team here. And they tried to catch a resisted Surf on their Dragonite. Not gonna happen, guys. We loaded up on energy, and it is time to absolutely unleash upon this Dragonite here. We went for Night Slash number 1. We're going for Night Slash number 2, and they are absolutely chipping away at the Dragonite. We have a third Night Slash locked and loaded. It will not KO, but maybe a boost. A nice boost does occur, and they are forced to throw. A Dragon Claw, I do believe, KOs from this range, but they undercharge it, and they stop attacking, hoping to get more farm off of their Galarian Weezing, but it's not going to help them. We get to a resisted Night Slash, and we're saying bye-bye to the Galarian Weezing. You'll love to see it. Gliscor coming in clutch. Good game, well played. I was thoroughly impressed with Gliscor on team number 3. It was really putting in the work. And for reasons like this, guys, we got a solid lead in the form of Charizard. They make a play into something that's not much better. They appear to be extremely weak to a Tapu Fini. They make a play into a Giratina. We were a bit slow on the swap, but we do finally make it in with our Gliscor, which is your answer to a Giratina. It's actually your best answer, although Tapu Fini is a fairy type. It deals primarily water type damage, and if Giratina is running Shadow Claw, Tapu Fini can actually struggle against the Giratina. So if this ever happens to you and you happen to be running team number 3, you'll want to align Gliscor onto the Giratina. Gonna go for the big EQ. It does not look like they are looking to shield whatsoever, and they do let that go. You guys are going to see the importance of being fast on the switch, guys. Because we allowed them 2 extra Shadow Claws, we now have to shield. We would not have had to shield. We would have only had to shield once because we did get that wing attack through, which, as we can see, will KO, but I did not notice that. I thought that they had aggressively swapped back into the Charizard for some reason, and we now lock ourselves in with our Tapu Fini. Luckily, they had another Dragon type in the bag, probably the worst Dragon type to go up against a Tapu Fini. It's yet another Guzzlord, so got a little lucky here. I need to pay attention a little bit better, but I also think Pokemon Go needs to fix their visual elements of the game, because I do heavily rely on the visuals, and I did not notice the Giratina going down because the camera panned to me when they got off their attack. But yeah, so kind of lucky here. Tapu Fini's going to do quite well. They aggro swap back into the Charizard, and we've got a Surf. Locked and loaded for the Charizard. Doesn't quite KO, but it gets it quite low. And my goodness, is Tapu Fini putting in the work, guys. They were triple weak to a Tapu Fini. A lot of teams just don't plan for it, which is why it can be quite effective, guys. And we're just going to take this thing out, lock on down, and get as close to a Focus Blast as possible. Looks like they are waving the white flag, my friends. They stop attacking. And we're saying bye-bye to the Guzzlord. You love to see it. Registeel sweeping up the end game. Good game, well played to our opponent. Telling you guys, a lot of teams just don't have an answer for a Tapu Fini lead. And here we go. Yet another team that does not have a Tapu Fini answer on the lead. They had a Gliscor. We do quite well against Gliscor, and they safe swap into a Charizard. Holy smokes, guys. Tapu Fini was core breaking like you wouldn't believe. We get off this Surf. They let that through. Holy smokes. I can't really blame them, though. There is no hope for this Charizard. They go Blast Burn. We let that go, and we farm down, and they top left. Likely triple weak to Tapu Fini yet again. Holy smokes. Good game. Well played to our opponent. Oh yes, guys, team number 3 was quite fun and quite effective in the Ultra League. We got a Giratina lead. The question is, what fast move are they running? I presume Dragon Breath, as they immediately swap into a Pidgeot, and we've got one of the best answers you could possibly have to a Pidgeot in the form of Registeel. Nothing hardwalls a Pidgeot quite like a Registeel, my friends, and we are going to look to get off this double debuffed Zap Cannon. Does not do nearly as much damage as you'd like, because they did Feather Dance us. But that is okay. We don't have to shield a thing from this Pidgeot here. And the play here now is we're going to have to throw a move. But what we're going to do is look to go for the Focus Blast and undercharge it so that we can farm the Pidgeot all the way down. That's the play here. That's how you have to play with Registeel. They're not going to stick around for the farm down. Our switch timer is now up, so we will align our Gliscor onto this Cobalion here. And we will start to shield. We kind of want to entice them to return the shields in kind, because we know that if we can get shields down, we can potentially land a big Moonblast on the Giratina that we know is still in the back. So we're going to look to play out the 2 shield here and really entice them to start shielding. We know that we comfortably tank these Stone Edges, but we want them to shield as well. That's what we're trying to accomplish here, because we want to get shields down, knowing that Tapu Fini does quite well against a potential Giratina and the 0 shield. And that is exactly what we have done here. And this is just a sacred sword here. That was quite interesting to see them go for that sacred sword. Not sure why they did that. And they're going to look to combo play us. The Pidgeot does have a Brave Bird sword. That is unfortunate. They take us out. But they're just allowing our Registeel more farm here. And now, crucial moment here, guys. We know that Cobalion has a move. We know that we lose CMP tie, and we're fully expecting them to blind throw so we catch that resisted move on the Tapu Fini. Oh, you love to see it. But this Cobalion is quite bulky and still quite healthy, so they will make it to another move, and it comes in the form of Stone Edge, which will chunk us quite a bit, but not too much. As I said, Tapu Fini quite bulky. We can overload a little bit and take out this Cobalion, and as we can see there, they waved the white flag. I do imagine that Giratina was running Dragon Breath, which was lights out for them, as they did top left prematurely. Good game, well played to them. So if you're wondering if Gliscor is good, I am going to absolutely say yes. It gets my stamp of approval in the Ultra League. And here we go. Mirror matchup on the lead. They've got a Tapu Fini of their own. We don't want to risk this thing finding its way to our Gliscor, so we're fine to just play this out here and take out the Tapu Fini, even though we do also have a better answer in the form of our Registeel in the back. Not quite sure what they have in the back either, so gonna just stay in here and play out the mirror matchup. The Ultra League's a lot different in terms of how you should approach it. For some reason, just staying in mirror matchups seems to do a little bit better than the aggressive swapping that you often see in the Great League. And there they have a Registeel of their own. So I'm a little concerned at this point because a Tapu Fini lead with a Registeel in the back can often have a Talonflame, but no, they've got a Walrein. So things are looking pretty good here for us. We've got a decent alignment here. Excuse me. So what we're going to look to do here is let this go and try and grab shield from them. We know that Gliscor does quite well against Registeel. It's still quite close. That's just the power of Registeel in general. But if we can get a shield advantage, that would be even better for Gliscor. And we're actually going to let this go. Against my better judgment, we do not want to give them a shield advantage here. So we're going to let this go and try and overload a little bit. We don't want to take too many double super effective Powder Snows, and we're going to throw the Night Slash here. And they do let that go. So now, it's on now, I must say, with Gliscor. Gonna now start shielding, and they go Focus Blast. My goodness. That was really annoying. That got me super tilted. And you guys will now see why you don't want to let your opponents get in your heads, guys. In order to effectively beat a Registeel when shields are up, you have to bait at least once. So we will shield up the Zap Cannon here, preserve the health, and right about here we should have baited. But instead, we go for the head fake and try and just go straight for the big nuke, and it does not play out here. So now we're in a very, very tough spot. And we basically threw the game here by not playing the matchup correctly and letting the opponent get in our heads. We're going to go for the EQ, but we have been debuffed, courtesy of a Zap Cannon, and it does not KO, and we will not make it to a Night Slash in time, and we lose because we did not play out our win condition appropriately. So hopefully you guys can learn from my mistakes. That's the goal at the end of the day with this channel, and that should have definitely been a win. So we have to settle for a 4-1, but my goodness, guys, I always say you can never, ever complain about a nice 4-1 set in Pokemon Go Battle League. But I will admit a 5-0 would have been quite nice. But hey, it is what it is. You got to play correctly in this current Go Battle League where players are so much more skilled than they were in the past. But I digress. Yes, team number 3 was amazing, guys. Gliscor 100% gets my seal of approval. Has very positive matchups throughout the entirety of the Open Ultra League, and it performed beautifully on team number 3. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching, and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.